Hello everyone, this is Jackie Williams, and in this video I want to share with you a technique of how you can partially dry emboss your project. So you see, for example, on this one I have embossing around the outside but no embossing in the middle, and it's just one layer of a card. So let's start with our stamping, and I'm going to stamp using the Botanical Layers stamp set. The first thing you'll want to do is place a mask in the middle of your card, and this will be the size of this section that will not be embossed, and for me it is 3 inches by 1.5. Now I do recommend the masking paper, however I wanted to use a bright color so you could see it easier on the video. And then we're just going to take some various stamps and colors from the Botanical Layers. And I'm going to use Pool Party first with the flowers. Now you may need to extend your mask just while stamping some of these. It is quite a large stamp. Once we finish stamping, you can remove your mask. Then you'll want to find a word that fits nicely in that frame. Now the words in the Botanical Layers were a little bit small, so I've chosen some words from the Charming Sentiments stamp set. And actually I want to add one more detail. I'm just going to put a mask back on there, and I'm going to use the Pool Party and a blending brush and just add a little bit of color right around the edge. It's a small thing, but I really feel like it makes a difference and really makes the bouquet, for lack of a better description, feel a lot more full. Now that our stamping is done, we are ready for our embossing. So of course, if you put it through the folder like this, then you would emboss all over. So what we want to do is miss out the embossing here in the middle. So I've created a shim, and as you can see, it's just made from some cardboard and a bit of the backing from some of our printed papers. So we have some of the thinner brown cardboard, and then there's some that's quite thick brown cardboard, and there's also the white, quite thick cardstock, I guess you'd call it. Anyway, it's like a backing paper. So you could stack these up to create the thickness that you want. Basically what you want is enough thickness that it's going to create like a gap where the pressure is from the embossing folder. So all I did was I took the shape that I have masked there in the middle, and I've cut that out of the center, and you can see I did a fairly rough job. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. When I put it into the folder like this, there's going to be pressure where that shim is, but you can see there's no pressure there in the middle, like there's just space there. So it will emboss where the shim is, but not there in the middle. Now because we've now made it very thick, you will need to experiment as to which plates to use with your machine. For about the thickness that I have, I found that the #1 or the thick white platform and one clear plate or the #3 plate worked pretty well. But again, it just depends how thick your shim ended up being. Then you will end up with a piece that has the embossing around the words, but not within the words. And then we'll go ahead and put this onto a piece of cardstock, and then I'll put it on the card base with dimensionals. Now this is beautiful as is. I love the texture on it, but I'm just going to add a few simple embellishments just to give it a little more dimension. So I've just added a little piece of linen thread there in the corner, and then I'm going to add a couple of rustic metallic dots, my favorite embellishment, or the one that I probably reach for the most. I'm going to choose to put that embellishment there. I don't want it too close to the dot on that eye. I think it's too many dots altogether. So there you go. That is basically how it's achieved. And this is one that I made earlier. And this one I've used one side of the folder, and on this one I've used the other side of the folder, so it's quite a different effect. And then this is one that I made last Christmas, using actually the Sunprints set and the brick embossing folder there in the background. So a similar effect. And I have a few other ideas to share with you. So you can also do this in the reverse, where instead of embossing around a frame, you can actually just emboss a shape. So for this example, I used a circle, and then when I embossed my paper with that circle in the sandwich, the embossing folder only embossed where the circle was. So this is the finished effect. I was able to achieve this really cool background and then just embellish that up with a few simple die cuts. Now, taking that one step further, you can also use strips of the cardboard and create like a shim. Of course, you'd want them lined up fairly straight. And then when you run that through, your embossing folder will only emboss in stripes for another look. And this is the finished effect of that. So you can see I've got that very cool diamond pattern there in stripes, and then I took my black ink pad and just went over it a little bit to give it a little bit more of a garage feel, and then embellished that up with the Legendary Ride motorcycle. So there are all my samples, and I hope that inspires you to try something a little bit different with your embossing folders. If you enjoyed this video, please share with your friends, leave me a comment, and of course subscribe. This is Jackie Williams, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.